My name is Vicente Quevedo. I'm a professional planner and neighborhood liaison with the Office of Neighborhood Coordination. This video is part of a series on parliamentary rules and procedures. We encourage you to check out our other videos on the Office of Neighborhood Coordination's YouTube channel. For this video segment, we've invited Adam Hathaway, a professional registered parliamentarian, to help us understand how to make the most of your meeting agenda. Adam will walk us through how to create and distribute a meeting agenda, as well as why it's important to stick to that distributed agenda. Adam?
Thanks, Vicente. It's a real pleasure for me to be here. I really appreciate the invitation to share some of my experiences with the folks out there watching. A lot of organizations underrate the importance of the agenda. The agenda is a lot more than simply that piece of paper and list of items that I have to throw together at the very, very last minute so that it looks like I'm organized at the meeting that we're having tonight. But rather, a carefully crafted agenda distributed in advance can have a lot of positive consequences. Some organizations wonder why their meetings aren't well attended, and is there anything that they can do to increase the attendance to meetings? Usually, low attendance means that the membership may be unaware of what business is occurring, or maybe they're remembering some business meetings in the past that have maybe gotten off track, or maybe has spent several hours but not actually getting anything done. An agenda that is well crafted in advance can really help with this. When I say well crafted, I mean an agenda that is very clear about the business that is going to be conducted at that meeting, so that your members have an expectation of what they're going to be giving their time and energy to. So when an agenda is created, it should contain certain elements. There's some basic things that need to occur, and then whatever you may need to add to fit the characteristic and flavor of your organization. So you may have some opening ceremonies, you may have some announcements or things in advance, but the actual business begins with the reading and approval of the minutes, followed by the report of your standing committees and your officers. Now, one thing you can do to save time is having these reports turned in and distributed in advance so that the members can take a look at this in advance, and it will save some time. The members don't really need to hear a 2 or 3 page financial report read to them with every letter and every line item, but rather something given in advance, preferably with the agenda that goes out with the call of the meeting, can go a long way in not only increasing member understanding of what's going on, but saving time at the meeting to do it. That all includes officer reports as well. And remember, with reports, officer reports and all committee reports, with the exception of the audit committee, you don't want to move to accept those reports. That takes a lot of time and it's not necessary. When reports are given, they're filed, you're done, no motion is necessary. Unless you're doing an audit report. Then the organization needs to take official responsibility for the audit report, so we want that one moved, seconded, and accepted, and then filed. You can have questions after committee and officer reports, but it's important that those are only questions and doesn't accidentally lead to debate. Sometimes a lot of time in meetings is lost by debate simply over the report of an officer or a committee. And the report is the report. If you want to make any motions or deal with actions, you can do that separate from the report. Then after any standing committees, you would have special committees reporting. A standing committee is any committee that is actually authorized in your bylaws to conduct business on a regular period of time. So functions of your organization that are very repetitive, you have to do every year. You have to have a budget, so you probably have a budget committee. You have to have elections, you may have a nominating committee. If you have a bake sale every year, then you probably have a committee to do that stated in your bylaws. But you have the ability as an organization to create any committees that you think might be useful for a particular short-term research project or activity. And you can make that with a motion, and then it dissolves when it has done its work for you, and that's that next portion in the agenda. Following that would be any special orders you might have. A special order is anything that your bylaws order you to do. If your bylaws say that elections shall be held in the May meeting, then that would be a special order because you're ordered to do it. If your budget needs to be approved in a particular month, then that would be a special order. Conducting the affairs of the business. If you want to make a particular item a special order to push it ahead in the agenda, you can do that too. You can make it a special order with a vote. Next would be unfinished business and then new business. So listing the specifics of what business you're going to have can possibly go a long way in attracting more members to attend your meetings and let them know what's going on. So you want to make sure that everybody gets a copy of the agenda in advance. Once you have the agenda during the meeting, it can be very useful to keep you from having a meeting that's several hours long but doesn't actually get any of the work done. So it is very important that the agenda be distributed again at the meeting to make sure that everybody has one and that you stick to it. Sometimes discussions will occur without a motion on the floor, and that's a very, very easy way to get very off topic and not deal with the business that people have attended in order to conduct. So it's very important that the chair systematically go down the agenda and make sure that every item, whether it's a resolution or an appropriation bill, everything that's on the agenda is taken care of. It is possible to change the agenda. At the beginning of the meeting, the agenda should be adopted. And if there are any changes to the agenda at that time, it only takes majority to add. So you might say, I move that we add resolution number 2 to the agenda under new business. And that would take a second. There could be discussion, and then it's voted on by the body. So if there's anything that the body does not want to deal with at that meeting, it can move or vote to not actually have that item on the agenda. That just takes a simple majority vote because it's the first time you're visiting that issue. Later on in the meeting, if you decide that something needs to move or something needs to be added, after you get the attention of the chair, you still can move to amend the agenda. But at that time, you're essentially moving something previously adopted. That would take a 2/3 vote. So it's a little harder to change the agenda once it's been adopted, but you do have the authority as a body to do so. So even though it's the chair's primary responsibility to make sure that the meeting stays on the agenda, you as a member, even if you're not chair or even not an officer, if you believe that the meeting's gotten off track, you can always ask for the meeting to get back to the agenda. There's a fancy parliamentary term called call for the orders of the day. And it's a very nice way to say, can we please stick to the agenda? And if for some reason the chair may not want to stick to the agenda, you as a member have the ability to make a motion or even appeal the decision of the chair. The point here is that none of you have to take or leave any meeting experience that you may not like. As members, you have a lot of authority to govern the way that you want to be governed. So remember, you can achieve action through the agenda by making sure that the meeting is planned in advance, clearly stated in the agenda, distributed to all of the membership, and then stuck to at the meeting. If you do all of those things, I guarantee that your meetings will be more worthwhile and they'll take less time for you to conduct more business. Thank you very much.